Hello, everybody. Sorry we're late. My name's Alice Hardy. I'm from Thales, and here is Karen Frimley, who's also from
Hi.
Thales. So today we've got a little presentation to show you about our assessment centres and the process and some tips and hints for doing assessment centres that are kind of not just for our assessment centres but for all. So hopefully you'll find it informative, and if you've got any questions at the end, if you pop them in the chat, and we'll be able to answer any questions, and hopefully we can entertain you for the next half an hour. So yeah, as I said, my name's Alice Hardy. I work in talent, early careers talent acquisition. I've been with Thales for about 5 years, and I've just moved into the early careers team last September. I'm loving every minute. It's full of energy, and we're really ramping up for our assessment centres to begin. So I'll pass you over to Karen, who's my colleague. Karen.
Hi, my name's Karen Frimley. I've worked at Thales for just over 3 years now. I work alongside Alice in the early careers department. I've worked there for the full 3 years that I've been with Thales. My role really is the full circle apprenticeship and graduate from recruitment through to roll off of the programme. So I'm going to start a talk with you today. I'm going to do the first part, then I'm going to hand over to Alice, and then, as Alice says, we'll take any questions at the end. Thank you, Connor. If we can move on to slide 1, that would be amazing, please. Thank you. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Thales. I'm not going to read through all of this because there's so much information in here, but I'll pick out the key ones and give you a little bit of information. So one of the things that amazes me is the number of people that work for Thales. We have 80,000 employees across 68 countries. So if international travel is something that is interesting to you, once you get through your graduate programme, there is, as you can see, lots of opportunity to travel. Some of the facts about Thales: so 2 out of 3 aircraft in the world take off and land using Thales equipment. So that's a big proportion of the aircraft in the air using our systems. Once you're up in the air, 1 million passengers visit Thales in-flight systems. So when you're watching that film or you've got the Wi-Fi going, you will know that that is us that's keeping you entertained. Around the world, so 80%, so that's 19 of the world's 20 largest banks use Thales security systems. If you've had a new bank card lately, if you have a look at the back, top right-hand corner, you will see the Thales name there because we actually produce those and the security behind the systems in the cards. One of the other new amazing facts that I've recently found out as well is that we're also producing driving licence and passports. So lots of exciting stuff going on. Some of the other facts, so I'm going to have to get a little bit closer to read these because these are so tiny. Sorry, everybody. The aircraft, so Rafale combat aircraft, and now the cat's joining me as well, apologies. So 25% of the value there, and 70 different types of aircraft. And then one of the other amazing things, Thales Alenia Space, one of our departments, the rover that is currently on Mars uses the video capabilities that comes from Thales. So amazing amount of facts. I'll let you read the rest of them for yourselves. Okay, Connor, if we can move on to the next slide, please. Thank you. So our graduate programme at Thales, it is a rotational programme, and as you can see from the slide, we offer a number of programmes within very varied departments. So we have them running in our HR, engineering, procurement, legal and contracts, bid and programme management, and sales and business graduates. They are rotational, so sometimes that might mean moving within an existing site into a different department, but more often than not, it means moving within our different bases. So you might move from Crawley to Glasgow to Belfast and back to Templecombe. It can be a very interesting rotation programme. Some of the rotations are for 6 months, some are for a year. It will depend on the programme that you are taking. Thanks, Connor. Always the best bit, because everybody comes to work to earn money at the end of the day, don't they? So compensations and benefits. Thales is about much more than a salary, but of course salary is important. Depending on the programme that you're joining, you will start with a salary between £27,000 and £29,000. Each year you will get the opportunity to have a performance-related pay uplift. The first of those comes 6 months after you join the company. So although you start on one salary, you will very quickly earn an uplift on that. And then that is reviewed on a yearly basis. It is performance-related, but providing everything is going okay, you will progress very quickly through the scheme. To give you an idea, a graduate will roll off around £40,000. As I said before, it is a rotational programme, and you will change maybe departments and maybe across different sites. We do support obviously the costs that are involved with that. It is a development programme, so you will be learning all the time you are enrolled. So you'll have work placements, you will have in-house training, depending on what you're doing, you may have formal training, and you will have mentors as you go through the programme. All roles carry support towards accreditation, so that the IET, for example, and we offer smart working. So you may work a hybrid sort of role, some days in the office, some days in education, some days on site. We do run an apprentice programme as well, so just a little bit of information in there for you that you can see in case it's of interest. As well as the benefits I've already mentioned, you will get 201 hours holiday a year. That's roughly equivalent to 27 days a year. On top of that, we get an additional day at Christmas, which is our company day. Most important now for all of us is our volunteering days. When you're in your first 2 years of programme, you will be given 10 volunteering days a year, and you are really encouraged to use those. It's about our social values programme and giving back to the community. It may be that you will go out and advertise our careers programme to other apprentices, other potential graduates, go out to schools, or it may be something closer to heart. So if you're already volunteering, I don't know, in a scout programme or something like that, you can use your volunteering days towards those programmes. We offer a competitive pension scheme, flexible working solutions, and you will have a career mentor to help you guide your journey through the programme. Thank you, Connor. The virtual assessment centres. So this is about how our programme of recruitment works. Thank you.
I've got
so the numbers. So we are. Sorry.
I've got control of the mouse now. Yeah. Just so you know.
It's a massive programme for us each year, and it rotates. No sooner have we finished than we start again. So at the moment, we're in the process where our vacancies are closing at the moment. For this year, we've got around 5,700 applications. We are expecting a few more. And our virtual assessment centres will start on the 22nd of February, and they run until the end of May. And we have multiple assessment centres more or less every day, every week of that period. So you can see 44 in total will be taking place. That keeps us very busy. If you're fortunate enough to get through the assessment centre, you will have a start date with us of the first week of September, when you will join us for an induction week. Everybody joins together, so you all get to do the induction together, which is really nice. And the onboarding, so getting all of your paperwork, getting you onto the system, will be completed by June. The process itself is an online application form, which is pretty much what's happened up to date. Everybody that applies will then go on to complete an online game-based psychometric assessment. If you're applying for a graduate role, you will then go into a telephone interview. So everybody will do that. After that, we complete some shortlisting. You'll go into the assessment centre, which we're going to tell you a little bit more later. And from the assessment centre, if you're successful, you will receive your offer. Thanks, Alice. The virtual assessment centre format, it is at the moment a completely virtual process. It's something we used to do on a face-to-face basis, but of course COVID came in and changed the world. We went to virtual, and we found that it's been a really successful process. It's something that I love doing and meeting everybody. I particularly love it by the time we get to induction day and you see somebody joining that you have been through the process with. It's really rewarding. We use a platform called TopScore, and we also couple that with MS Teams. We're still in development of this year's system, so we may just see TopScore, it could be the both. Each assessment centre lasts around half a day, and you will receive lots of breaks in that because we realise it is quite stressful as you go through the day. But as you can see, half a day, it's not too bad. So it's not a bad thing to go through. The actual day itself has 2 interactive group activities where you will work alongside the other participants that are in your group. There will be a behavioural sort of competency interview, and then if you are applying for a graduate role, there will also be a technical interview. Thanks, Alice. One of the things we follow when we're looking at the day and through the interview as well is the leadership behaviours that are part of our Thales core behaviours. And they are think big, make it happen, and work together. So the think big is imagine the future.
Karen, just
see ahead, support it.
Karen, can you hear me? I don't think so. You might need to repeat a little bit because I think Abraham's just put in the chat that he can't hear you. Abraham, can you hear me?
Oh,
can you hear Karen?
Can you hear me now, Abraham? Everything seems to be okay this end.
He can hear, yeah, cool, brilliant.
You can hear me? Yeah. Lovely, okay, thank you. So the leadership behaviours, oh, we've got somebody else typing, let's just make sure everybody else can hear. Everything's all right, perfect, thank you. My internet is a little bit here, I have Sky, so I'm blaming them. It does go up and down like a yo-yo. So the leadership behaviours for Thales are think big, make it happen, and work together. And these are things we ask that you focus on throughout the day. If you focus on these behaviours, it will support the process and it will help you to demonstrate everything that we are looking for from you today. The think big is imagine the future, see ahead, support innovation, deal well with complexity. Thank you. Inspire to engage, share compelling vision, lead with integrity, engage stakeholders. Make it happen, deliver user-centric solutions, ensure accountability, create customer intimacy, build trust. Act with agility, challenge the status quo, take smart risks, always smart, foster a continuous improvement. And finally, together, grow others and self, demonstrate self-awareness, invest in the development of others, encourage a culture of feedback, include others, embrace diversity, trust and empower, promote collaboration. And they are really important things. You will be sent that if you get through to an assessment centre, so you can think about how you can encompass those behaviours in the things that you say throughout the day and that you're able to demonstrate. Thanks, Alice. Housekeeping and top tips for the day, and to me this is the most important bit. This is the bit that really gives you the edge for the day. The first one seems like common sense, but you will be surprised. So it's keep your camera on at all times and make sure we can see your face when you're speaking. We don't want to miss your contribution. Everybody has different setups, but you will be surprised the number of people that are working on a webcam that's over here to my right and a computer that's over here to my left. So when you're sitting working through this virtual assessment day, all you see for the whole day is the side of someone's head. Now that makes it very difficult for the person that's assessing you to see what you're saying and for to know who it is that's talking. So make sure that you place your tech in a way that it's allowing you to show your best angle and for everybody to see what's going on with you. Okay. Focus on the task at hand, turn off your phone and limit as many distractions as possible. What we don't want to see is you looking out of the window, looking a little bit bored. We want to see that you're interacting, that you're focused on the task, that there aren't things around you that are distracting you, that your phone's pinging and you're texting and WhatsApping your best friend while you're doing the assessment day. Use the STAR technique to carefully structure your interview answers. Link your technical experience and skills back to the job you have applied for. The STAR technique you're going to cover later, Alice, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. I won't tell you that, otherwise that would really test my brain to remember it right now. So you will, and Alice will cover that for you later, but we will also send you information about that. But it is a good way of structuring your interview by following the methodology. Be yourself, and most importantly, have fun and enjoy the day. It's hard because any assessment centre you're going to be nervous, but what we're looking for is to see you. We want to get the best out of yourself. So try to put those nerves away, relax. We don't mind if you sit there with a cup of tea. We're not going to, be stuffy about it. We want to get the best out of you. Be aware of your surroundings, watch other people, and you will get through the day. Thanks, Alice. Top Score platform. So this is the platform that I was talking about. Thank you. And this is just to give you a little idea of the platform we use. It is, you'll get a login before you start, so you can test it out. And that's one of the things I would really say before the day. Don't leave it. Like we had a little bit of a technical problem just now. Make sure before the day.
We need to practice what we preach.
We do, Alice, we do, don't we? But it's always a learning curve. But it's one of a really important things. Just make sure that your Teams link is working. If you've received the link for Top Score, just go in and log in so that you understand that the login works. And if for some reason or another things aren't working, you can get in contact with us and tell us before. No good suddenly 2 minutes before the day starts thinking, oh my goodness, I need a webcam and I haven't got one. Or oh, they've sent me a link, but I've lost the email. So just be confident that you've looked at that thing and that you know everything that works. You'll be able to log into the platform and just see the format of it. You won't obviously be able to follow through the exercises because it's, you won't know what you're doing until the day, but it will give you an idea when you're working through as well, just to, follow the instructions. We will guide you as you go through the day. If you're having problems with the platform, don't sit there and panic. Just say it can be quite hard to navigate around a new system when you've not seen one before. Don't jump ahead. Literally just follow the instructions and shout out to us if you have any problems. Thank you. And I'm going to hand over to Alice, I believe, now.
Okay. I think I'm just waiting in the background for our next.
Oh, yes.
Here it comes.
Look at that, as if by magic.
I know. Apologies again for the delay, guys. I had a bit of a problem with loading up the presentation, so we're just waiting for the slides to come up now. Please work. But this is all bits about the interview process, and okay. We're just can anyone see them, or have I just got a wheel?
I can't see a wheel, but I can see the interactive group activities page.
Oh, can you?
So it is working. It's just there. It's gone. It's moved.
I've just moved
it went
back
again. You're testing yourself today, Alice.
Okay, I know. I feel like the universe is testing.
Oh dear. Now we've lost Alice. Are you with us, Alice? Okay, we've lost Alice. I'm going to try and share my screen so that I can pick up from where we are.
Are you there, Karen?
Oh, you're back.
I'm
That's
back.
good. We lost you for a minute. Yes.
I know. I refreshed the screen and then. Oh, anyway, right. Interactive group activity. So basically, on the day, there are 2 activities to do, and these are group activities. And the reason why there's 2 of them is when we're assessing people, we want to make sure it's fair and we're really getting the real you. So like sometimes, maybe in one you might not be able to get across as much as you wanted to, and then you've got another opportunity in another group. So the whole point of me talking to you about these is that just to kind of tell you a little bit more about what happens in them and some top tips. So both the activities that we are doing, they're being designed again for this year because we've used the same ones for the last couple of years. We like to change it up. So in both cases, you'll be given a fictitious scenario, and what you need to do is work with the team as a task force to identify and manage and then close out a fictional project. So the biggest thing with this is make sure you listen to instructions. That is the key part of any project. You know, make sure you know what you're doing. So some top tips for you. So make sure these are the do's. Make sure that you take the lead if you feel comfortable. Include others. So make sure you're letting everybody in the group be heard, and make sure that when they're talking that you're listening to what that person's saying. Keep an eye on the time so you can get extra marks if you like. Oh, we've got 10 minutes to go, or we've got an extra 5 minutes. Should we maybe move on to another point? Because sometimes if you know, we're getting to a point where you've got 5 points to discuss and you're halfway through the time and you're only on point one, we need to knock it on a bit. So it's quite a good way to get some extra marks if you're managing the time. And acknowledging other people's good ideas, like, yeah, that's a great idea, or I love the sound of that, yeah, we should include that. It's always, you know, thinking of others and being proactive, and listening to each other is always good. And make sure, like I said before, that you're listening to the task at hand. What we're not looking for, and what will kind of not, you won't get extra marks for, is if you're speaking over other people and you're not letting people have a chance to talk. If you go ahead and ignore all the instructions, you might find yourself lost. And if you ignore the time, so you're not going to be able to focus and get through all the points. And then don't take the lead unless you feel comfortable. It's a difficult one with the lead role, because it can come across sometimes, if you lose control of it, you kind of guide the group in a wrong way, then it can all kind of crumble down. So I would say if you feel comfortable taking the lead, then great, but you don't have to take the lead to get extra marks, is what I'm trying to say. So now we'll talk about the interviews. Now, with the graduate role, there is a behavioural role interview and a technical interview. So with with a technical interview, let's talk about the technical interview first. It is an interview that we're looking for what technical skills that you have. So technical interviews typically include situational questions and technical problem solving skills. So my advice would be, look at the department that you're going for an interview with, and what kind of experience do you have in relation to that department or that job description, and kind of really make sure you know how to what your experience and your skills are in relation to that. So tips and hints when you're applying for the role is know the role you're applying for, which I've just said. What is the role? Where does it sit in the business? Review the job description and work out what experience you have that is relevant. Draw on your own experience. And as we've already mentioned, which I think we mentioned a few times through this, be yourself. It is so important in interviews that you get across your personality, because we want to know who you are. And especially at Thales, we really, really are passionate about people being their own unique self. We want everyone to bring their whole self to work. And it is so, so important that everyone feels comfortable enough to be themselves at work. Yeah, a well-rehearsed answer is great, but we want to know what your personality is and what makes you tick as an individual. So the behavioural interview. Now, there's a bit of an art when it comes to behavioural interviews. So the amazing thing that I've just gone on one there by mistake. So with Thales, we send you the questions ahead of the interview. Why do we do that? Because we want you to be the best version of you that you can be on the day. We want to know your experience. We don't want you to kind of come to your interview and then have a question and then suddenly panic because you can't think about the answer. So what we do is we send all of our candidates kind of a briefing pack on how to do that. I'm going to talk about the STAR technique in a second, but how to do an interview, behavioural interview, and how to and the questions. So you know, you can really prepare and make sure you give us the best examples that you've got. the behavioural interviews are designed to assess your behaviours. Obviously, it says it in the title, but what that actually means is you're talking about situations that you've actually been involved in and projects that you've actually done. So, for example, a question might be, tell me about a time where you've worked as part of a team, or tell me about a time where you've delivered a customer service, or tell me about a time where you've dealt with a difficult situation. And what we're looking for is for you to choose moments from career, education, or whether extra activities if you're part of any clubs. Um, and think about the actual situation that you were in and how you went about it. So we're looking for things that you're really proud of and really passionate about, and using that STAR methodology, which I'll just talk to you about in a second. Something someone shared with me years ago is that ahead of a competency-based interview, and a new thing is obviously sharing the questions ahead of time helps you prepare. But if you haven't got the questions ahead of time and you're going to a different assessment centre where they're not sending the questions, what you can do is you can really think about 6 strong examples of where you've either been part of a project, or you've been part of a team that's been really successful. Basically, think about those 6 examples, apply the STAR methodology to them, and then that will then help you when you get asked a question. You might be able to use those 6 examples to be able to have something to kind of come up if you're someone that might go blank in interviews, which I do. Yeah, here we go with the next slide then. So the STAR technique. So as I've mentioned, we're looking for specific situations that you've been involved in. And with the STAR methodology, it's a bit like telling a story. So the S stands for situation. So with the situation, we want you to set the scene of what exactly your objective kind of was, or what the issue was or project was. What is it that you're changing? And then the task. So what is it that you're specifically going to be doing? So one thing that kind of can throw a spanner in the works is if you're talking about a time where you're involved in a team, and people, when they're giving the answers, tend to say we. So when we say we and we're talking about something we've done ourselves, it isn't exactly showing us what you specifically have done as an individual. So the way around that is to say, I was part of a team. My role within that team was, I don't know, to record data, and then talk about what you specifically did within that. So that's your task. And then the action is, what did you do? So what did you go about doing? How did you do it? The who, the what, the why, and the how, isn't it? It's that kind of telling us exactly what you've done. And then the result. What was it that worked? What happened? What was great about it, or what wasn't great about it? What did you learn from it? How does it prepare you to move on into your career? So or learn from in uni, or whatever the situation may be. So that's the STAR technique. That's a whistle stop tour. There are lots and lots and lots of questions on Google. If you type in competency based questions, STAR technique, tons and tons of information. If you're invited to one of our assessment centres, we do send obviously the questions and how to answer a question with the STAR tech as well. And then this little bit down the bottom, just in case you didn't hear before, be yourself. It is so important. Please make sure that you bring your actual own personality to the table rather than rehearsed answers. And this is my little bugbear, which is why it's in the presentation. Please make sure you research a company before you go for an interview. You might be amazing at interviews, but if you don't know the company that you're coming for an interview for, why would they employ you? I mean, I know it's a no-brainer, but you would not believe, in the 25 years of recruitment that I have done, that people come in for an interview and I go, what do you know about us? And they look at me as if I've asked them like some mathematical question. And then they're like, nothing. And I'm like, okay, it's not great. We've got Google, you can research. One great tool to put you a little bit of an edge against other people is, everyone will know what the company do. It's the first thing you type a company into Google, up comes the name. And then it like, oh yeah, we're defense business, technology business. But someone who goes to the marketing page and reads our press releases and sees what our latest press releases in the market. Oh yeah, I know what you do this and this. I've seen your press release for this. It just puts you a little bit more of an edge that you've got a proper interest in the company that you're applying for, and you're passionate about learning about that business, and it just makes it you come across a bit more engaged in the role. So that's our whistle-stop tour through our assessment centre process. Thank you so much for listening. Again, apologies for the technical issues. But does anyone have any questions that they'd like to pop into the chat we can answer? Is anyone still there?
Shivari's typing something in for us.
Oh, fab.
Oh, and we've got lots of people typing. Are you going to live to regret that one, you see? Lots of typing, but nothing's popping up just yet, unless I'm not looking in the right.
Hello, are the graduates still open for application? Then they're not. They're closed for 2023 at the moment. And they will be opening for 2024 in about mid-September.
Yeah.
Is there any civil engineering roles at Thales? There are direct. I think we don't do civil sort of it,
Not
but we
civil
do
engineering.
we do engineering roles. So that our engineering roles like hardware, software, systems, and then we have sort of manufacturing positions as well, like electronic and mechanical. Would it be an ideal time to start applying for graduate schemes in August? I'd probably say September or October, because that's when most companies start advertising their graduate roles. Usually they close in just about beginning of January.
Hi, Shivari. It's nice to meet you too. During the technical interview, will the questions be the same for HR and sales and procurement? So no, the technical questions will be specific to the role that you are applying for.
Any career opportunities for sustainability and climate change graduate roles? Not at the moment. A lot of our businesses are sustainability is something that's really important to Thales, as well as climate change. One of our business objectives is to be greener, and everything that we do, we're looking at more sustainable ways of producing our products. So there isn't a specific role at the moment. However, it is important to Thales, and that area of our business is growing and is becoming more and more. So not at the moment, but maybe watch this space.
Sheesh has asked, how long is the application process? You've just been given the game-based assessment. Fantastic, that's good to hear. So the next stage is that we pass our candidates through to our global sifting, and they will complete the interview with you. That is taking place at the moment, so it's just being organised. So we would hope in the next couple of weeks that will all be through. The dates of your assessment centres are in the advert, so I don't have them off the top of my head, obviously, unfortunately, but if you look back at the advert, there will be the date of the assessment centre in there, and then hopefully within a couple of weeks of the assessment centre, you should know the result, onboarding by June and start in September.
Yeah, I think there's two questions about the gamification and behaviour, and then the assessment centres. So that's great. Do we offer does Thales offer visa sponsorships? Not for graduate positions at this stage. Yeah, we do for some other engineering roles that are very, very specialist and niche, but not for the graduate positions.
Next question. Thank you. What about opportunities for mature students? So that's not a problem. Any age can apply. We are looking for a degree that has been achieved within the last 3 years. So your age does not matter in itself. You're more than welcome to apply. Same process.
Shivari, most dictionary-based quantitative questions will be asked for HR. So yeah, it'd be a behavioural interview and a technical interview, and the technical interview will be not sort of technical roles about sort of situations or experience that you've had within the HR function or around it. Would you say that's right, Karen?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Does Thales support visa sponsorship? I think I just answered that one. So it's a no for graduate roles, but maybe for specialist engineering positions. Thank you for the presentation. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think that is one of the hardest parts of how you to talk. I think with a lot of them we see natural breaks and people tend to be able to break in. If you're struggling, then they're fairly small groups. There is nothing to stop you taking that lead and saying, if we want to talk, shall we pop our hand up? Or just making sure that if somebody hasn't, that you take the lead and say to somebody else, oh, you've not managed to speak, did you want to say anything? And I think it is one of the most difficult things, how you don't interrupt and talk over people, but you can work as a group, take the gaps, use the function, maybe suggest a way of making sure you all get that turn, take the lead if you find it easiest to make sure everybody
Yeah.
gets that go.
I think as well, to add on to that, sometimes you have like a raise hand function. So you can either raise your hand or physically put your hand up if you feel like you can't get a word in edgeways. And then that will make people think, oh my goodness, this person's trying to speak and we're all talking over them.
Yeah, absolutely. Air transport management graduate.
Air transport manager, is that like logistics?
I don't know. I think the best thing would be to have a look against the roles with the specific, because all of our roles have specific degrees that they can accept, and every role advertised will have that degree on it. So if your degree fits into one of those categories, you will be able to apply for it. Without knowing a little bit, unfortunately, a bit more, it's very difficult to guide you, but they will all be in there. So do have a look and it will tell you.
What are the proportions of those invited to assessment centre that are offered a job? Oh,
It's around 1 in 3.
1 in 3. That's a good statistic.
Yeah.
Can one volunteer in Thales? Sadly, due to our security measures, because of the nature of the work that we do with the MOD, you can't volunteer into Thales, but when you're a member of staff, you can volunteer out to the local network or whatever that may be. Are there any IT sector jobs available from May to June 2023, and any internships available for master students related to the IT sector? If there's a direct entry for IT roles, they will all be on our website in June, so have a look on there. As for internships within IT, I'm not sure that we do have that possibility, do we, Karen? I think we work.
Internships are that they are few and far between. If we do get any, they are advertised on our normal job page. They are run directly from the business though, rather than through early careers. So there aren't a lot of them.
Yeah, I think that answers Mazzili's question too. Francis can't hear us. Can anyone else hear us? Oh, thank you. Thanks, Shivari. That's nice. Thank you. You're welcome. Is there any way we can get the application link when it is available in September? Yes, we have. We haven't got our 2024 registration live
Not
yet.
yet.
Miriam, if you'd like to send us I don't know how we can kind of capture your data, but if you want to if I
Maybe just
can,
email into
yeah. What we'll
support.
do is we'll put this should we put our early careers email into the chat, and then if anyone wants to send us an potential application for 2024, I can't even believe I'm saying that. But what we can do is we can then send you a link just to register your details, and when they become live, we can send you an email that they're live, and then you can have a look and pick which one you would like.
I've popped that in there so you can
Can a
see that.
master's graduate apply? Yes, you can. Can Thales assist with short placement internships for MSc students? As Karen's already covered off, our internships are very few and far between. A lot in research, yes, but they tend to work with the universities where we sponsor the research programs. So that is where we do our internships that way. Thank you, the assessment guys. Oh, you're welcome, Hen. That's great. Okay, okay, fab. So yeah, Miriam, if you'd like to just email this early careers, or anyone, email the early careers email, and then we'll get you added to our system for when jobs go live in 2024. That's great. So is there any more questions? Well, hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah. It's been really lovely to meet you all virtually.
Yeah,
if
well,
you do have
hopefully
any
we'll
other
see you at
questions,
assessment centres.
yeah, any further questions, you can send anything through to that SUP early car email.
Oh, I like the hearts. Keep the hearts coming. That's good. I'm a business student. Is it necessary to have? No, it's not necessary to have coding skills at all for our business graduate, a business role. Oh.
The recording will be sent out. That's lovely to know. Well, thank you all very much. It's been lovely to meet you all. Hopefully we'll see you all again soon.
Take care then. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.